afternoon, everyone. I hope most of you are not very hungry and are, like Aparna rightly said, this is going to be a really a treat into words and how words find expression in music. So I'm going to start with a little introduction. Karky, I read in an interview in the Times of India, I think it was sometime last year, where you talk about, how when you started your journey, you talked about how in the context of Tamil cinema, especially in the context of Tamil lyrics, only about 7,000 to 8,000 words have been used, compared to nearly 3 lakh unique words that exist.
Around 15 lakh
Closer
words
to
now.
yeah.
15 lakh words we have
Exactly.
now.
So you talk about your exploration
yes,
began
yes,
over there.
Over there, yes.
Right?
That's correct. That's correct.
So when we were thinking of a title for this session, Charan and I were talking about the idea of investigating freedom, and you titled it Siragisai. So I thought it would be nice for us to start with this word itself, Siragisai. And if you were to write 2 lines on it right now, and if Charan could set it to music, I mean, this is the only opportunity where we get to put you in a spot. So, Siragisai.
Yes, we'll do. Can I have a paper?
Can we have a paper and a pen, please? Can somebody, if somebody has a paper and a pen, that would be great too. Thank you. Okay, we have many pens. We're just in need of a piece of paper. So whoever would like to have a piece of paper which has Karky's writing in it? Okay. So here we go. We'll just allow the writer just a few minutes of silence. Oh, well, he says he works better with noise. Actually, all of us, I suppose, since he says that he works better with noise, Charan, let me ask you, you wear many hats as well, as a Carnatic musician, but also as a parent and all of that. And there is a lot of noise in the world that we live in. How do you really shut out from that noise?
I think zoning out has never been so much fun in my life till now. I used to zone out even in my early days, in school, sometimes, thankfully not in music classes,
right.
But whenever I listen to some song, at some point of time, the pallavi order, the song will stop in my head. The sangatis will keep on going, and whatever happened after the pallavi, if somebody asks a question, what was the charanam sangati that they did, I would have zoned off completely.
Wow.
The same thing happens when the train of thoughts just stops somewhere, and I linger around that thought sometimes. So I think that zoning out is helping me now to get out of the noise that is external,
right,
and concentrate on what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you have to physically sort of step into like a room really to zone out, for example?
No.
Or can you just be with us here right now and zone out?
I'm sorry?
Can you just be with us here
I
right
just zoned
now?
out now. It's as, I just need a musical idea to just come into my head. And sometimes it struggles its way to find its way into my creativity sometimes. And that's when I zone out.
Right.
And I think all musicians are like that. They get so absorbed by creativity that most of them need to step out of the creative zone to actually indulge in that noise, zone in.
Yeah.
But most of them will be in a zen, zoned out state.
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Karky, she just asked
Karky is
for 2
definitely
lines.
not writing a haiku for sure.
You're going right.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was pretty fast.
It is.
I hope Karky is not going to put me in a spot and ask me to read it.
This is amazing. Oh my God.
I know.
So the more we keep talking, I think he'll write more lines, so we should stop now.
Yeah, exactly. Because after that, you know that it's your turn,
Yes.
Charan.
And I can choose to sing a few lines from
You
that.
guys need to
I
share
need
the
lines,
mic.
please.
Yeah. You have to read Oh, you have another mic. Okay.
So, thank you for this opportunity. First, when I wanted to title the Siragisai, the concept why I wanted to do it is like again what Charan said, like the independence. The every flapping of a wing is a music which denotes freedom, flying away from the. So that's what I wanted to capture in Siragisai, the independent music that we work on. And when we are going to talk about that independent music, we get a freedom from many things when we talk about in compare. So I'll just read this lyric, probably. ஒவ்வொரு சிறகின் அசைவும் ஒவ்வொரு விடுதலை ராகம் சிறகின் சிறகின் இசையின் முன்னே வானம் சிறிதாய் போகும் ஒன்றாய் சேர்ந்தே சிறகடிப்போம் சிறைகள் விட்டே சிறகடிப்போம் நம் சிறகின் சிறகின் இசையின் முன்னே வானம் சிறிதாய் போகும்.
So maybe you can talk a little bit about it, Karky, and decode it for audiences that don't understand Tamil, perhaps, while Charan zones out to zone in.
So the rough translation, my English is not that very good, but the rough translation goes something like, with every flapping of the wing, the sound of flapping, each of it is a song of freedom by itself. And in front of those wings, the entire sky will become very small. The wings of freedom is so big compared to the sky. And when we all flap our wings together in one sky towards one direction, again, the same thought repeats. In front of those wings, the sky will become too very small. So that's the concept.
Wow. So that's fantastic. So it's about how small we are in the scheme of things, but it's also about how big
we are. The concept of freedom is.
This whole idea, the dichotomy is really, really. Let's see how this finds.
Beautiful, as always. And for me, tuning such exquisite words in Tamil, I think I go with the ragam first. Any ragam that is lingering in my mind at that moment, whether it fits, I need to do a couple of iterations to find whether it fits. But now, from the top of my head, I was humming a beautiful ragam called Nalina Kanti on the way here. And somehow that sirahu or the flutter, it is represented by the beautiful movement of Nalina Kanti, which is sagari ma pani sagari gari ni pa ma pani sa. அந்த மாதிரி பார்க்கணும். ஒவ்வொரு சிறகின் அசைவும் ஒவ்வொரு விடுதலை ராகம் சிறகில் சிறகில் இசையின் முன்னே வானம் சிறிதாய் போகும் ஒன்றாய் சேர்ந்தே சிறகடிப்போம் சிறைகள் விட்டே சிறகடிப்போம் நம் சிறகின் சிறகில் இசையில் முன்னே வானம் சிறிதாய் போகும் வானம் சிறிதாய் போகும்.
Oh my God.
Thank
This is the stuff artists are made of. Very, very amazing. Thank you, Charan
Thank
and
you, Karky.
Karky, for really. And Charan, I was telling you just about when we were sitting in the lounge as well that, you know, this word freedom, and I'm sure Karky you will agree about Charan's voice, it has a quality of a freedom, of an unboundness.
Even in the song, when he was singing the lines, Nam Siragin Siragin Isayin Munne, he was just taking it
To a height.
soaring to the
Exactly,
high.
skies.
And then Vanam Siridai Pogum, he brought it down. So
Absolutely.
this usually happens in the reverse. When people are talking about the sky or something big, they just take the music notes to the high. And then when they're talking about something smaller, the music falls. He understood
The essence.
the sense of what the lines are talking about, and then he applied it in his voice and in the music.
Wow. But also, yeah, thank you for that. But also that comes from a great place of also understanding each other, right?
Yeah.
Charan, it also comes from understanding how he writes And it's also a trust that you have formed with him in a way that you know that he takes your words and does justice to it, right?
True, very true.
I listen to his words.
Absolutely. So I'm going to start with a very, very basic question because I thought we'd keep this conversation really about words and, really how we can really play with words, explore with words, and how words really become songs and how songs become songs that we can sing and therefore memories. Karky, do you think in Tamil? Is Tamil, it's your language of comfort, it's your mother tongue, it's your refuge, it's your safe space. How do you keep discovering your language constantly?
I think mostly in Tamil. Mostly in Tamil, yeah. And whenever I learn a new language, I also try to think in that language. So when I travel, I go to a different country or a different place, I try to learn that language a bit. And I try to see if I can think in that language and if I can write something in that language, create something in that language, even learning a basic structure and sentence. But yeah, whenever I work on lyrics, my first thought will be in Tamil. And how I keep updating is learning a lot of new things, random things that are not connected to Tamil. So my everyday reading will be something totally chaotic. It will be something in something in chemistry, something in biotechnology, something in quantum physics. I just go and explore different areas, and that gives me a lot of ideas of how to see things differently, how to look at regular things that we have in our lives in a different way, how to see, how I understand, say if I'm learning quantum physics, there's something called a superposition. So the superposition is of the subatomic particles which spins in both the directions at the same time. So this is something very unique for me to come and apply to somewhere. When I don't know when it'll come, but when I'm writing some song or something, whatever I read about that particular thing will be very helpful for me. So whenever I learn anything, I think about it in Tamil. I'll try to understand it in Tamil and then apply it to my lyrics when I...
Charan, I want to ask you a little bit as a sort of a segue to this question really is that, as a Carnatic musician, you've mostly been singing music that have already, in some sense, been sung. There is a repertoire that exists, and people have sung it, legends have sung it, and you have learnt it from gurus, and you are singing it. Now, what happens when you inhabit poetry that is really fresh off the oven, like what he sang now? Nobody has sung it, and it's sort of forming in your, for the first time. So what is that, and how do you, so you become like actually the first one to actually sing it. How does that feel? That's question number one. But also I want to ask you about your relationship with the Tamil language.
My relationship with the Tamil language, it evolved once I finished my schooling, because we were just talking about it. In school, we never learn languages in our mother tongue. It's English throughout. So Tamil was just one subject that I had to learn. But the moment I started performing more Tamil songs, and of course working with people like Madhan, Karky, and other wonderful composers, my guru was a huge Tamil aficionado. He loved to sing Tamil compositions, and I used to see the way he changed his facial expressions when he was singing Tamil kritis. That didn't happen when he was singing kritis outside his familiar territory. But Tamil paattu, especially when he was singing Dandapani Desigar songs of those days, he used to cry. He used to think of himself as Nandanar. He used to think of himself as the Shiva Bhakta who was crying out loud.
Right.
And it kind of amused me in the beginning, but then I later understood that that's the reason behind that is that he speaks that language and he's able to connect with that language effortlessly. So naturally I gravitated towards Tamil. And to answer the first part of your question, the biggest freedom I have working with Karky is, I always have this question of, what if I could meet the lyricist of this song? No? What if I could meet Dikshitar? What if I could meet Tyagaraja? What if I could meet Papanasam Sivan? And ask them why they composed this song? Because we know, if we have about 600 songs of Tyagaraja, Dikshitar, very few songs we have the backstory about. So we don't know why Tyagaraja composed certain compositions, but there are different schools of thought which say that this is why he composed and this is how he sat down to compose. But it has always been a burning question in my head, you know. And that was fulfilled when I was able to talk to Karky and the freedom, as you rightly said, Siragisai is is the encapsulation of that freedom you feel as a performer. There are so many questions in your heart, and there are so many themes that you like to sing about. At home, we are a very conservative family, and conservative in the sense we don't express our pride very naturally. When we have done something really good, we don't go out and say that I aced it. So that was exactly what I said when I finished my first concert to my grandmothers, who were legendary musicians. They said, "How did the concert go?" And I said, "I killed it," you know, something to that extent. No, I did very well. And they were baffled. They said, "Do you know what all could have gone wrong in that concert? Just because you prepared for that 1.5 hour concert doesn't mean that you should have sung well. There are forces of nature." They didn't say in these much words, but they just said, you have to surrender to whatever happened, it happened well. The philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. And that came full circle when I sang Karky's song, which is Maga Magani, which he talks about how insignificant you are. Anything can happen and you just have to surrender to that. So I felt from that point of time, no, why are we not singing about things like this? We talk about philosophy when we get together, we talk about highest philosophies and Vedanta and everything. But in concerts, these philosophies do come, but not in your mother tongue. It doesn't come across to people in a very simple form. And that's what Karky's songs mean to me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So today, Poetry Festival, a song was birthed. And we had the privilege of being with the poet who birthed the song. And thank you. So if somebody has recorded this and it goes, it's shared on social media, somebody's going to hum it. So great. Thank you for that. Charan, I'm going to ask you to sing a little bit of Maga Maga.
Sure.
And I'm going to ask Karky to actually break it down for us and tell us what the meaning and what place he was in the backstory of that song. Yeah.
Would you like to start with that, Karky? The backstory of the song? Okay. So I'll just sing the first line, and then once Karky tells the backstory of the song, I can explain why the song is set in such a fashion. The hum is giving me a different shruti, but let me check.
The song talks about how great or how big you are and how small I am. And this is the overall concept of this particular song. And it talks it in different words. Magam is the sky. Magam. Maga Magani, adil Mega Maganan. So the size of the Megam compared to the size of the Magam is how the song starts. Oga Magani, inil Daga Maganan. Ogam is endless river that comes, and I am just a thirst. Daga Maganan. So the song has a few lines like Aadiyai pol endan arivena ninaithen Siratudi tugalirum siridadi endrai Aaliyai pol endan alagena ninaithen Imainodi pududil en ilamayai koidai Maga Magani unil Mega Maganan. So I thought my knowledge is as vast as the ocean, but you made me realize that it's smaller than a small drop. And I thought my beauty is like that of a fresh dewdrop that's there. And before I could blink, you took away my youthfulness and everything, and you showed everything is so um, fleeting. Everything is fleeting. And ஆறென ஒரு நாள், அதன் அலையென ஒரு நாள், மீனென ஒரு நாள், அதன் உணவென ஒரு நாள், ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் என் சிறுமையை உரைத்தே, மடமையை உரைத்தே. This is how the song goes. Like one day you make me feel like I'm a river, and the next day you just make me feel I'm not the river, I'm just a wave. And the day after that, you make me realize I'm not a wave, I'm just a fish that's jumping on it. And right next to that, the day after that, you make me realize that I'm not even that fish, I'm the food for that fish. So this is how you make me realize I'm smaller and smaller, and I keep getting smaller every day. So.
You want to sing the...
Aria. Yeah. So this song is an accidental composition, I should say that, because my first tryst with Madhan Karky's compositions in Tamil for Carnatic music was through Rajiv Menon and Anil Srinivasan. So both of them shared a beautiful PDF document called Tamilisai Padalgal by Madhan Karky. And Rajiv Menon sir was tuning some songs, Anil was tuning some songs, and I had picked one song to sing because I loved the themes that he has handled. And the moment I sent it, I got his number through Rajiv Menon, and I sent it to him. He said, the song is beautiful, but please don't sing it. Because I have already given this song to Govind Vasantha, the music director. So it is going to be used in a film song. I'm so sorry, I can't give this to you. I was like so crushed. But he said, I will give you another song. And he said, this is a song I've written now, please take it. And as I told you, that exactly the line that he mentioned, RDI Polian Arivanan, exactly what I told my grandmothers those days. I thought I did great, but they put me down and they grounded me. Yeah. And when I read that line, I said, okay, this song is speaking to me right now. And the tuning of the song also, those who understand Carnatic music, we use a certain section of ragas called Dvi-Madhyama ragas, where both Madhyamams, the Prati-Madhyamam and Shuddha-Madhyamam, they work in tandem with each other. And Yamuna Kalyani is one such ragam where you employ both those Madhyamams. So if I were to sing a little bit of the raga's phrases, that's one type of Madhyamam, Shuddha Madhyamam. That is the next Madhyamam. So that became the word, the starting word of this song, which is the swaram and the lyrics are the same. Maga maga ni. So entire thing, what he talks about, maga maga ni, is made up of the same swaram. The syllables are also the same. We call that as swaraksharam in Carnatic music. And to sing the lines that he mentioned about, ஆழியை போல் எந்தன் அறிவென நினைந்தேன் சிறு துளி துகளினும் சிறிதது என்றாய் ஆழியை போல் எந்தன் அறிவென நினைத்தேன் சிறு துளி துகளினும் சிறிதது என்றாய் ஆலியை போல் எந்தன் அழகென நினைத்தேன் இமை நோடி பொழுதில் என் இளமையை கொன்றாய் மாக மாக நீ ஆரென ஒரு நாள் அதன் அலையென மறுநாள் மீனென ஒரு நாள் அதன் உணவென மறுநாள் ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் என் சிறுமையை உரைத்தேன் ஒவ்வொரு நாளும் என் சிறுமையை உரைத்தேன் மடமையை கரைத்தேன் பெரிதென விரியும் மாக மாக.
So beautiful.
Thank you.
You know, I noticed that there is this quality of this song, especially one very large, expansive quality, but also this like humbling kind of a thing. And I see that that's a sort of a recurring kind of, there's a sort of philosophy with which you work with Karky. But before that, I want to ask you a little bit about when you were singing this song and actually explaining it, and when you were singing it itself, Charan, there's a certain visual quality that languages have, that our mother tongues have. And we were just discussing that. I was just wondering if you could just give us that example that you gave me, because I feel like so many times when we speak English versus when we say the same thing in the context of, Tamil, it is just so much more easier for us to like understand and appreciate the language. So would you just be able to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. This is something that I keep talking to schools. Whenever I visit schools for different purposes, I talk to children and also the teachers. Whatever we learn, whatever we listen to, mostly it should be in the mother tongue, because mother tongue creates a kind of a visual. Multiple examples I can give. This one example I'd like to tell is when we explain gears to children, gears that we
gears,
okay. So see, again, I have to explain which gear now. So when we say, when you put a small gear next to the big gear and rotate the small gear, the big gear rotates. So this is something we just tell. But the children or new learners, they don't have a kind of a visual how a gear would be. When you tell the same thing in Tamil or in any mother tongue, so I don't know how it's other mother tongue. In Tamil, when you tell, you say, சின்ன பல் சக்கரத்தை எடுத்து பெரிய பல் சக்கரத்தை பக்கத்துல வச்சு சின்ன பல் சக்கரத்தை சுத்தினா பெரிய பல் சக்கரம் சுத்தும். This is the idea. When you say pal sakram, pal and sakram automatically creates a kind of a visual inside your mind how the gear will look like. Even though they're not showing a slideshow, you'd immediately be able to understand this. So that is one beauty of explaining on having things in mother tongue. So this I keep telling to students.
Charan, you've been, you've collaborated before, like as a Carnatic musician, your exploration has been constant. You've worked with Anil Srinivasan, it's almost 20 years. I remember writing that story so many years ago. Your collaboration with Anil, where, really pioneered a new form of sorts, where the piano sort of came to the main stage in a Carnatic format. How different or similar is your collaboration with Karky? And is it, in a sense, an extension of that?
Yeah, I guess I'm realizing bigger ways to become insignificant in the grand scheme of things.
That's our recurring motive today.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when Karky came with his songs, and I think Anil and I also work with Karky on a Tamil Isai program every December during the Margari festival, where we get school children to sing his songs first, and then we perform the songs. Every year it has been a fresh experience for me, because here you have a person who can answer my call and listen to my query and come up with a song. And I just have to sit and tune, and it speaks to me in a sense that I don't think I can, it helps me connect with an audience better. So whenever I go to a different school in Tamil Nadu, whenever I speak to a different audience which has not been exposed to Carnatic music yet, language is a great handshake with them. So when I introduce Tamil through songs of Karky's, for example, when I have performed in a college recently, everybody gets angry, right? And this is an emotion that you are taught to suppress. Suppress your anger. And I may not look that way, but I do get angry sometimes. What we are told by our elders in the family is never show your rage, always maintain your composure, and things like that. And I found an outlet through Karky's songs, because he has written a song on anger and saying that give away your anger, no, show your anger. That's the song he has written, and I found it in one of the Tamil Say Padalgal, and I asked him, can I tune this, or have you given this to some film as well? And he said, and interestingly, Karky, you should talk about that song and when it came about.
So this song, I don't read much, so I read very rarely. When I was studying in Australia, I went to the library. Randomly, I just picked a random book. I was doing computer science was my background, but I went to the psychology section, and I picked this book called Anger, a Misunderstood Emotion. That's the name of the book. I picked it, and I just read it for a few days, and then I felt like it connected well with me, because I was able to explore this. Like, the way we express anger is very different. The society dictates how we should express anger. So, being in India, India teaches you how to be angry. It's not the India, but it's the people. Similarly, you go live in a different society, that society expresses anger in a different way. I used to work in a restaurant as a table waiter. I used to see people from different countries coming and having food there. So when Indians come for dinner, that'll be the worst night actually. If some service goes wrong, they'll start to curse us, they'll start to shout at us, and they'll just tell something very, very rude. And because we'll be very few people working there, and it's very tough to serve 100, 150 people in a small restaurant. The same thing when it happens to Australians or Americans. So they come, they'll just have food, and if the service is bad, they don't tip us and they leave. So they don't shout or they don't tell anything, they just tip and they leave. And mostly another thing is like Japanese. When Japanese come to have food, and if the service is bad on that day, normally if they tip $10 on that day, they'll tip $100 and they'll leave. And they'll never come back. So it's their way of expressing their anger. So every community has a different way. We can't tell this is right or this is wrong. Probably what the Indians we do is better in a way, because we are not suppressing it. So this book actually, I wanted to express this book as a song. So I wrote the lyrics down, and so that Sinam Kol Maname is the title of the song. Like, just express your anger. Anger is something like love. It has to be expressed. You can't, any emotion that you have inside, once you start to suppress it, it's going to cause problem sometime. So don't. Now in Japan, they are telling that people who've suppressed anger and expressed it in different ways, they are ending up in a lot of psychological problems. So, and it's not helping them. As a society, it's not helping them. Now people are talking about express your anger. Then and there, even if it's going to, but know how to express your anger. So this song is about how to express your anger.
That was his first song.
Of course, yeah, I'm sure he does.
First poem, yeah.
What I wrote initially was slightly different, but what we composed, we had to change slightly. It's slightly there. அடக்கி வைக்கும் உணர்ச்சிகள் எல்லாம் உன்னை புதைக்கும் புதைகுழிகள், கோபம் என்பதும் உணர்ச்சி அன்றி குற்றமல்ல என்று சினங்கொள், வாதம் பற்றி கோபம் கொண்டு எரிய தோன்றும் வேளைகளில் கோபம் என்பதை ஆயுதமாக்கி புன்னகைத்து நீ சினங்கொள், கையில் கிடைக்கும் பொருளை எல்லாம் உடைக்க தோன்றும் நேரத்தில் கையில் கிடைக்கும் பொருளை எல்லாம் துடைத்து வைத்து சினங்கொள். So this song actually talks about different ways of expressing anger, and we changed the same concept to a musical version.
Yeah, because as I was saying, his compositions are helping me understand my own journey in Carnatic music better, because till that point of time, I was only singing one song of Dandapani Desikar, which says Sinam Adayade, which is don't get angry. And yeah, exactly. And for me to even think as a performer that that could be the other end of the spectrum, somebody is now asking us to get angry. And I was able to speak to that audience in a different way, because when, you know, young people, they don't like advice, right? If you say that don't get angry, please remain silent. And here is a singer singing, get angry, Sinam Kol Maname, Sinam Kol Yekkaname. Every single minute you should show your anger, and in the right way. So for me to understand the ragas that I can use to project anger, the ragas that I can use to project that insignificant part that you play in the universe, everything was a learning experience. And Sinam Kol is going to come out soon in streaming platforms. I don't want to give away much about the song right now.
But there was one concert in which Sikkil performed both the songs together as a single song. He goes Sinam Kol Maname, and then he just goes and then comes Sinam Adayade. And he totally confused the audience.
I can imagine, yeah.
I left it to them. You decide what you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your situation will decide what you have to be. So there are two songs. And for them to get into Carnatic music through an array of choices, you know, you giving them a wide range of choice to appreciate, to enjoy.
No.
So I just see that as a win-win for Carnatic music to have songs like these.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you a little bit about just independent music itself. You know, Charan, when you set, the Siragisai to tune, within the context of independent thinking, there is a framework, which is your Carnatic framework. Yeah. So you reference that framework, right? But within that framework, there is a freedom to, would you just be able to break that down a little bit?
Yes, as I said, what freedom I feel right now is still bound by that ragam, which probably, if we have the same conversation next year, it may not be so, because I would have moved away from that boundary of sticking to one ragam for an entire song.
Exactly,
because freedom knows no bounds, right? but still I am within that framework of a ragam where I don't move out of the ragam for the entire composition, but I try to cover all the contours of the ragam. And I try to move as the lyrics go, I try to move accordingly with the ragam. And the boundary of sticking to one composition at any given point of time, finishing one composition and then moving to the next composition, that was broken when I did this Sinam song. Because I finished a song called Sinamadayade, then I did some other song, then I came to Sinam Kol Maname, then I again got Sinamadayade back into the picture so that people can understand that a concert is a never-ending thread of compositions. So these are boundaries that you make for yourself, and at every given point of time you break those boundaries.
Fantastic. You know, I was thinking about how, you know, words have a meter of their own. Language also has a meter of its own. And of course, there's music, which has a meter of its own. So I thought before we, you know, wrap this session, is there a way that we can kind of explore this idea of meter? And if there is a way that you can engage with the audience as well in the context of the meter? Yeah, I think we have just limited time, so if we can do that, I thought it would be interesting.
Okay, so when we talk about meter, so first thing is like people usually say music does not have language. So my thing is like similarly poetry or a thought does not have a language. It's just a thought, and the thoughts don't have language. You can express like how you can use any music instrument to perform a particular tune. You can use any language to express a thought. And these meters again are, so whenever I'm writing songs like this today, I didn't worry about a meter initially. We didn't have a tune in place, but I wanted to have a kind of a structure which will help Sikkil to set it to tune. So set it to tune. So this is where we have a kind of a...
You're used to that, right, Karky? Because you write for melody, right?
Yeah, I write for melody. Because I don't write anything without a melody in mind. Either a composer gives me a melody, I write for it, or I write with my own melody in my mind and then I give it to the composer. So when we talk about meter, it's again like it's a very mathematical kind of a problem. When you say, if the melody wants something like tannanana, say, just say tannanana, if you say this is the thing that we want. If tattadadada, what are the words, set of words in a language that you can pick to fit it in this particular meter? Tattadadada is my thing. Now, what are the words that comes to your mind immediately? So we can just say, so these are the set of words that I told you that usually people use from the 7,000 words that they have, and you can see if it's easy to access. If it's going to be tattadadada, tannanana, so this is the meter, and you can split it into 2 or 3 components. Tan, nanan, nana. So you can have 3 words. Ni varum varai. Say if you're just saying ni varum varai, we can just say. And this is 3 words. I don't want 3 words, I want 2 words. Then you just try to shrink it to 2 different words. Tannana and nana. Yennarum pidai, something like this. So yennarum pidai. So if you want it as a single word, tattadadana, so you can go for words like something like kattadakalai. So the kattadakalai will be a single word. So this is how we take a meter and associate with. Now if I say a word kattadakalai, so I don't know what emotion it will invoke into Charan, but he'll have this kind of a thing, like a framework where we were talking about ragas. Every ragas brings out some emotion. It's all Rajiv and Anil and Sikkil, when we have discussions, it'll be a beautiful discussions where we talk about which ragas are, like if you think about this emotion, this raga is the best for that one to express that emotion. So that is how he picks it. Automatically, he doesn't even think about it. He directly goes and he picks a raga and he just comes and he sets it to a meter. And now he has a bigger wrapper. I have, as a language, is a smaller set of words, but music is a bigger set. He can bend it and take it any way he wants. So for example, if I say a beautiful word like say, something Paravai Kapagam. I want to put Paravai Kapagam in this place, but I'll not be able to do it. Tattadatada, can't fit Paravai Kapakam. So now I'll have to just try to see if there are some other words which will fit into this meter. And that is so we are talking about two different infinities here. Language is a smaller infinity and music is a bigger infinity. It has a super wrapper. It can wrap around anything. It can take something. If I say Vanam, he can say, like he can sing Vanam and he can just go, or he can just say Vanam. Shut. How big he wants Vanam to be. He has that power.
So the first concert where I wanted a Ragam Thanam Pallavi from Karky, Anil and I did the Ragam and Thanam. And for the Pallavi, I said, let it be Karky's words. And Karky, Anil was the medium through which we communicated. So I sent Anil, asked Karky to compose something in this meter. And I told Anil this, tatam, takatam, takitatam, takadinatam, takatakitatam, takadimitakita. Anil said, say it in a way that Karky will understand. And I gave him 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And Karky was saying, why is Sikkil sending me phone numbers? What is this whole thing have to do with the concert? And he came up with the beautiful lyrics for that meter. At that point, we had not decided the ragam, what we are going to perform that evening. So that morning, Anil was telling me, how about we ask Karky for a Pallavi itself? And I said, let's work on a meter which is used in Carnatic music called the Strotava Hayati and the Gopuchayati, and which is something like 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It keeps ascending. And then we used the descending as well. And I sent Karky all these numbers. It took about 10 minutes and came up with these beautiful lyrics. I still have that in me. Oru Siragil Parakiren Unayadaya Mugil Urasiya Iragellam Nanaya. So he came up with those words and 4 different iterations that caused us to give of Chatur Raga Malika Pallavi. We sang the same Pallavi in 4 different ragas. The meter was the same. So the same. So how we moved from the meter to the song is what I want to illustrate in this example. Yeah.
That's great. Do we have time for some questions? One question? Okay, just one question from the audience. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sure, sir. Yeah.
கார்கி உங்களை எல்லாருமே அழைக்கிறது வந்து கார்கின்னு வந்திருக்கு. அது உங்களுடைய விருப்பமாக இருந்ததா இல்லை இது அப்படியே வந்ததா?
இல்லைங்க, நான் எனக்கு பிறக்கும் போதே பேர் வந்து அப்பா முதல்ல வந்து கம்பன் அப்படிதான் பேர் வச்சாங்க எனக்கு. ஆனால் அதை கூப்பிட்றதுக்கு ரொம்ப சிரமமாக இருக்கும்ட்டு. ஸோ மை மதர் வாண்டட் டு கீப் டிஃப்ரெண்ட் நேம். ஸோ தென் he loved the writings of Maxim Gorky.
I know.
The Gorky-oda name na Karky. It became like a double transliteration error. My name was, so Tamil it was Karky and back to English as Karky. And Madhan Karky is my like kind of a double barrel first name. So people, whichever they like, they call. So
இல்லை வேற யாராச்சும் உங்களை மதன் அழைக்கிறாங்களா?
Yeah. கூப்பிடுவாங்க. ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் வந்து மதன் கூப்பிடுவாங்க.
ஓகே.
ப்ரொஃபஷனல் சைடில் மோஸ்ட்லி பீப்புள் கால் மீ கார்கி.
உங்களுக்கு என்ன விருப்பம்?
அப்படிலாம் எதுவுமே இல்லை, எப்படிலாம் கூப்பிட்டா போதும்.
That's great. I think we may have to wrap this session. Thank you very much, Karky. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for adding to the repertoire, really, really. And thanks, Charan.